One day, Thomas and Percy were at Brendam Docks with Cranky. They were waiting to unload a cargo ship. Cranky could see that the ship was very far away in the distance. "The ship is going to be late," said Cranky. "Let's play a game to pass the time," said Percy. "Alright," said Thomas. "What shall we play?" "How about Hide and Peep?" suggested Percy. "How do you play that?" asked Thomas. He had never played Hide and Peep before. "It's simple," said Percy. "One engine goes to hide, and the other engine has to bind him," said Cranky. Thomas thought that was a good idea. "I'll hide first, and you come and find me," said Percy, and he popped away. "You'll have fun playing that game," said Cranky. Thomas smiled and agreed. Thomas went to start looking for Percy. He looked behind trucks, and he looked into sidings. Percy was very good at hiding, and Thomas was having trouble finding him. Thomas popped into a warehouse. He stopped to have a look, but he couldn't see Percy anywhere. Thomas was sure he wasn't going to find him, so he decided to blow his whistle. "Percy," said Thomas, "I give up." So now he waited for Percy. Percy puffed out of his hiding place. He saw Thomas and heard that he had given up. Percy puffed alongside, looking very concerned. "I'm sorry, Percy," said Thomas. "I gave up." Said Percy. "I think we're going to have to try something a bit more easier." "Maybe I'm not meant to be playing this game," said Thomas sadly. "Nonsense," said Percy. "Let's try again." And he raced off to hide. Thomas waited and waited. Soon Thomas started looking again. He looked in different sidings and past a workshop. He still couldn't find Percy. Then he had an idea. "Let's try the coaling plant," he said. "I haven't checked there yet." Thomas raced into the coaling plant. He could see that Percy was nowhere to be seen. Thomas hoped he would find Percy soon. Then he heard a whirring sound. Thomas was surprised to see that up in the coal hopper, Percy had been hiding on the tipper's loading ramp. Percy reached the ground with a sigh of relief. "Phew," he sighed. "I'm glad to be out of there." Thomas was surprised. "How did you get up there?" he asked. Percy looked puzzled. "I don't know," said Percy. "One minute I stopped for a rest, and suddenly I got hoisted up." Thomas could see that he hadn't won the game either. "Let's try again," he said. "You hide, I'll look for you." "Okay," said Percy, and raced away. Thomas decided to start at the beginning of the docks. When he got to the start of it, the dock manager was waiting for him. "Thomas," he said, "the ship has docked and Cranky's unloaded the cargo. You and Percy must go and help immediately." Thomas was worried, but he decided to find Percy first. So he blew his whistle. "Ready or not, Percy," called Thomas. "Here I come." Percy heard Thomas and tried to hide as low as he could. Thomas looked everywhere. "Bust my buffers," he cried. "Percy's very good." Thomas went to see Cranky. He looked very upset, but Cranky was cross. "Where's Percy?" he called. "He's still hiding," said Thomas. "I'm sorry, Cranky, but I'm not very good at this game. I've looked everywhere." Cranky felt sorry for Thomas, and Thomas knew that he and Percy were going to get into trouble. Then Cranky had an idea. "Think of all the places you've checked," he said, "and then think of places you haven't checked." Thomas wasn't sure, but agreed. He thought about the sidings he'd checked, and looked in all the warehouses and sheds. Cranky waited impatiently. Then Thomas had an idea. Rocky's warehouse, he said. I haven't checked there yet. What are you waiting for? Said Cranky. Go and find him. Thomas raced up to Rocky and found Percy straight away. Found you at last, he said happily. Pump my pistons, said Percy. You found me. But Thomas felt sad. I'm sorry, Percy, said Thomas. I'm useless at hide and peep. Maybe I shouldn't play this game anymore. Nonsense, said Percy. You just need a bit more practice, said Rocky. Thomas knew Percy and Rocky were right, but then he remembered the cargo ship. It's time to collect our trucks, Percy, he said. Let's go. Thomas and Percy arrived to collect their trucks. They were coupled up and ready to go. Thank you for playing hide and peep with me, Percy, said Thomas. That's alright, said Percy. Next time we play, I'll teach you all the tips you need to know. Thank you, Cranky, said Thomas. Your advice really helps. Practice makes perfect, Thomas, said Cranky, and Thomas agreed. Now it's time for you to go, said the foreman. Your trucks are ready. Yes, sir, said Percy. Let's go, said Thomas, and they puffed away. Thomas had fun at the docks today, but he learnt that when playing a game, practice does always make perfect.